Welcome to What's Cooking with Rochelle. Today we're making homemade applesauce. So believe it or not, you can use apples that are not at their peak. In fact, it's usually better for applesauce. So I bought a bag of apples for $1 when they're on discount at the store. So if you ever see these, this is a great thing to use apples for. So we're going to be cutting up 5 apples today for our applesauce. We have about a 1/4 cup of sugar and a tablespoon of cinnamon. Now you could mix, if you like different fruits, you could use pears as well as apples, but today we're making a very traditional. And I'm just going to rinse these off real fast. And we are going to be peeling and seeding them. Now, if you wanted to be really lazy, they do make machines, obviously, that you stick the apple on and it peels it. It doesn't take that long, so I'm actually going to do them by hand. Okay, so now our apples are washed. Then we are going to peel them. You can use whatever kind of peeler you want. You can use a paring knife. This is a hand peeler that I have here. And I have my trash can down there. I'm not throwing them on the trash or on the floor. Now, you wouldn't have to peel them, but it just makes for a better applesauce, in my opinion, when they're peeled. You could use the peels for other things if you wanted. They make great fertilizer. So you could see that didn't take long. 1 apple down. Okay, so we've got all 5 of our apples peeled. Now we're going to core them, and I'll show you how easy this is. We're literally going to cut them all in half. So at the store, a thing of applesauce would easily cost you over $3. This is going to make more. And like I said, you can personalize it if you wanted to mix a pear with your apple. You could mix any kind of fruit, really, that you wanted. They sell strawberry. If you wanted to have raw applesauce, meaning uncooked, you absolutely could do that. You could just put it in the blender with all the ingredients without cooking it, if you're worried about nutrients. But one things I want you guys to realize is it's super easy to make something. And again, you can make this ahead of time. Applesauce will keep easily for a week in the refrigerator. And then it's a nice snack for you or kids when you come home if you're hungry before dinner. It's also a good option to put on things like pancakes, and in desserts, instead of sugar, you can use applesauce for a healthier version. For banana bread, zucchini bread. So there's lots of good uses for applesauce. And like I said, when you make it yourself, you know what's in it. You know there's no preservatives. And obviously if you've washed and peeled your apples, then you don't really have to worry about pesticides either. And who knows at the store, the stuff that's in the jar, what the heck they did to it, right? And you can see I'm not being super careful. It doesn't matter. You're just simply getting them decored. We've got 1 more to go. And I didn't know if you saw, we had a couple different kinds of apples in that bag. It doesn't matter. There's no specific apple that you have to make applesauce with. You can make it with whatever apples you happen to have on hand. And like I said, it's a great way to use imperfect or older apples because you don't have to worry about the water content because you're adding a little bit of water to it. So now that we have them chopped, we're going to slice them and dice. And like I said, the size doesn't matter. I'm simply cutting them, as you can see, in a rough dice that's maybe an inch. And for the bigger ones, you know, just chop them a couple more times. Main thing is you don't want the seeds. Just make sure you got all the seeds out. Seeds will add a diswanted crunch to your applesauce for number one. And number two, they'll make it bitter. And you can see the difference in the apple color. This one's a Granny Smith. You see how it's kind of like a green. And this one's a Pink Lady. You see how it's more of a yellow. Just slightly different characteristics in different apples. Okay, so apples are all chopped. And we're simply gonna add our sugar. And again, if you don't want any added sugar or you want to use some kind of replacement sugar, just go ahead and use whatever kind of sugar you want. You can also use brown sugar, you can use honey. So there's many options when you're sweetening it or not sweetening it at all, which is also great because at the grocery store, I know they do sell unsweetened, but most of it is sweetened. Okay, so we've added our sugar, added our cinnamon. We're simply going to put just a little bit of water in here. And that's probably about a quarter cup to a half a cup. I'm gonna put it on the stove. We're gonna cook it for about 10 minutes and I'll show you what it looks like before we put it in the blender. And I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so you can see it's bubbling really nicely. You see that wonderful syrup it's making. So we're gonna turn down the heat just a little, let this cook for about another 5 minutes to get our apples just a little bit softer than they are right now, and then we'll be ready to go ahead and blend them up and make applesauce. Okay, so we've got our cooked apples and they've made a nice syrup. Now, if for some reason your applesauce you like runnier, add more water. You want it thicker, cook it a little longer, add a little bit less water. So you can use a regular blender if you want for mixing the applesauce to chop it up, and you can make it as smooth and crunchy as you want. So you like it crunchy, cook the apples a little less and blend them a little less. I'm gonna make mine kind of in the middle of the road. It's gonna have a few chunks. If you don't like any chunks in your applesauce, just blend it more. So we've got our food processor here and I've got it fitted with just a regular blade. Literally, all you have to do is dump everything in here. There's no secret sauce to this. Like I said, the key to making your applesauce how you want is adjusting the sugar level to whatever you want. And like I said, you can mix the different kinds of apples. You could mix it with different kinds of fruit besides just apple. Okay, so we've got our apples in here. Turn the food processor on and start it on pulse. The reason to do that is you can see how chunky it is. Now, right now this is too chunky for me, but if you like chunky applesauce, this might be perfect. Let me just push that one down. add just a little water to this. It looks a little thick to me. So I'm gonna start off by just adding about 1/4 cup. And that looks pretty good. You can see what that looks like now. Again, if you want yours super smooth, go ahead, puree it more. If you wanted yours thicker, you didn't have to add the water I just added, but that gives you an idea of what your applesauce should look like. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in a container. You're gonna wanna let it cool down before you refrigerate it if you're not gonna be using it right away. If you are, it's ready to go. And this is homemade applesauce. Delicious. This is What's Cooking with Rochelle. Until next time, I look forward to seeing you. Have a great day.